My name's Natalie and I'm one of the volunteer ambassadors with the Meningitis Research Foundation. And I became an ambassador after losing my young son Myles to meningococcal septicemia in 2015. The Meningitis Research Foundation were a fantastic group of people who supported us at the time. When we lost him, they provided myself and my family with a lot of information to be able to process what we were going through and process and cope with our grief. And they have continued up until now to be a great support network for us. And actually using my time to volunteer with a charity is one of the key things that has really helped me to get through the grief and the loss of my son. Other things that that myself and my family have done to help with coping with grief of a child is getting my other children involved in things to remember Myles by. So I have two children who are currently 8 and 4. So my oldest was obviously alive when Myles died, and my youngest hasn't ever met Myles. And so it's really important to us that we keep Myles's memory alive. And we do this by going over old photos and videos. We like to make photo montages of the photos that we've got of Myles. Obviously, he's very young, so we don't have thousands of photos like I do now in my iPhone. But we like to make photo walls, and when we decorate their room, we change their room around, we might get a photo of Myles or a picture of Myles and put it up on the wall, and talk about the memories that we have about him. Myles, one of the things that you have to decide upon and do when you lose someone that you love is obviously make the decision around the funeral and about burying or cremating. And we had Myles cremated, and so what we have at home is we have a small area where we put a couple of things that we remember him by. So, for example, we love to go through photos, and so we spend time doing that. This is one of my favourite photos of Myles that I have on a photo next to the box of Myles. He's always near us, he's always close to us, and he feels like he's always there. Obviously, the decision around what we do with our loved ones after they die is a very, very personal one. And for me, it feels right to have Myles near us at all times. And then we have a toy elephant. So when Myles was sadly taken ill at the hospital, they put this toy elephant with him at Southampton General Hospital. And then when he died, they gave us that elephant to take back with us. And so sometimes it sits with his things on a shelf, and sometimes the boys might take the elephant upstairs and have him on his bed or something like that. It's known as Myles's elephant. And it's just something that we can move around the house, that we can, the boys can use as a bit of comfort, something tangible that we use to speak about him. It's nice to be able to spend a bit of time maybe making something like a memory box as well, especially if it's someone that you love and maybe it's their siblings or children that are left behind, that can really get involved in putting together something like a memory box, so that over the years and over the months it's something that you can sit down when you've got a bit of time, and it's trying to think of thinking of the positive things. So you could print off photos, things from the hospital if it was like a baby or a child, from when they were born, and any little poems or something that might remind you of them. Other things that I do and that we do as a family is spend a lot of time outside. So in nature, I think going back to nature, for example, today is a beautiful winter sunny day. It is really important, and getting that fresh air and having time to think and escape the sort of constant busyness of everyday life, making sure that we take time out to think about Myles and to think about ourselves is really, really good for our mental health. I also like to spend time outside, like speed walking, so keeping healthy, and doing exercise in general, which is obviously so good for us in many ways. Also, when Myles was alive, as I say, he was very young. He was only 7 weeks old. One of the very few things that we did was go outside for a walk one day in a forest, and it was full of bluebells. So for us, bluebells are something that really reminds us of Myles. And so every year when the bluebells come out, we always make sure that we go somewhere, a bluebell field or a bluebell forest, and we take a walk through the bluebells and talk and think about Myles. And we also planted bluebells in the garden, so that when they start to come out in the spring, we're reminded about Myles also.